Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. We are working through the book of Proverbs, encouraging you to read a proverb a day. This is a book of wisdom. And then we just share a couple of verses with you and talk about it and see what maybe we can learn together. So today we're on Proverbs chapter 22. And I just want to read one verse to you, verse 3. Listen to what it says. It says, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty." Interesting. Well, what does that mean? It's talking about the prudent seeing danger. That involves foresight. Sometimes we can get so caught in the weeds of life. Life is busy. There is so much going on all the time. There are so many things vying for our attention, trying to distract us. I'm sure there's many things piling up at work and things on your mind. If you're a parent, you have kids and school and schedules. If you have grown children, maybe it's coordinating, getting together and watching the grandkids. There's so many things that we have to do. And it's easy sometimes to have the time fly by. I remember when we first had our daughter, she's now 11, and the time has flown by, that mothers that were at my stage of parenting told me that very same thing. Enjoy the young years. They go by so quickly. I remember at the time thinking, well, in these sleepless nights of kids up crying and needing things, I wish it would go a little quicker. Well, wow, now a decade later, I understood what they meant. You see, time goes fast. And when we get distracted by the things going on in our day, sometimes we can lose foresight. We can lose foresight of what's to come, of what's happening, and even with our own children. I think about that. I might notice something that I need to correct, or something that I notice even in my daughter's temperament, or something's happening at school, and yet I'm so busy that I don't address it. Or maybe there's something going on at work and you're just trying to get through the day and you're not having foresight of, hey, if I don't address that, if I don't talk about that, if I don't fix that, it's only going to get worse. Well, the Word of God says that the prudent see danger. They notice it. They see things that could come and they take refuge. I love the word refuge. What do you picture when you think of that word? Just a couple of days ago, Pastor Nabil and I were in our own personal devotion time that we were doing together. And that word refuge came up in our devotion, and we talked about it for some time, and we described what we thought it meant. You see, when I think of refuge, I think of other verses in the Bible where it talks about the shelter of his wing. It describes God almost as this covering, this protector of a parent to a little baby bird. Pastor talked about being surrounded almost like in a cave or in the cleft of a rock, that protection that surrounds you, that power, that place that you can escape to, that you don't have to feel the weathering of the storm. What does refuge look like for you, and who or what is your refuge? You see, it's one thing to notice danger. It's one thing to see problems, but where do you go when you encounter them? To go back to the analogy of parenting, I feel so overwhelmed as a parent most of the time. We live in a crazy world. It's enough just to keep the kids alive, fed, sheltered, right? But then we have to deal with all these conflicting ideologies. And my daughter's talking about beliefs now. And what does God think about this? And my friends say it's a lot. And oftentimes I foresee that, hey, if we don't get a handle on this, where might my kids end up? And so I go to that refuge, that safe place with the Lord, and I pray. I ask for wisdom. I ask for insight. I say, God, help me. Help me with my kids knowing what to address and what to let go. Whatever circumstance you're facing today, are you having that prudence to look ahead, to consider what's down the road, or are you just aimlessly wandering? The verse goes on to say, but the simple keep going. You just keep wandering, and they pay the penalty. We can't just be wandering around aimlessly. We need to be aware, prudently aware of what's to come. And if you aren't sure, I know there's a lot of craziness in the world today about what may come, and wow, if you watch the news, you know what? I know the one who knows it all, God. If you're concerned about the future, go to God, talk to him, pray, the holder of heaven and earth. He holds the world in his hands. Nothing is a shock to him. But also, as you foresee the future of what's to come, the danger lying ahead, go to that place of refuge. Go to God for wisdom, for comfort, for peace. Go to God to eliminate fear and doubt and worry and anxiety. Go to your refuge. Hey, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for another Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth.